Hello and welcome to What If? The Search for Truth. Today we have a guest. His name is Ulf-Vegard Haukenes, also a Norwegian, but we have chosen to do this podcast in English anyway, because he has quite a few foreign followers, and most of my followers or subscribers, I would say, on my channel is also English or foreign. So that's the reason for that. Once again, welcome to What If, where we try to explore the journeys of people who go out of their way to kind of bring about a higher consciousness, a greater awareness, and those kind of things. So without further ado, let me take Ulf in. There he is.
I can hear
Welcome.
you.
You can hear me. I can
Yep.
hear you. I can see you.
Very good.
Hopefully, we will get some feedback if we are not having optimal audio or video. First and foremost, Ulf, thank you for taking the time out of your day to join me on this podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And just to mention, I always say um, I don't do this podcast for first and foremost, not for anybody. I do it mostly for myself. Not coming from a selfish place, but I like to, get to know people who I find to have a very interesting approach to life. Feeling that they want to share their perception. I would say I don't. Some would say maybe they know the truth. I come to understand one thing, and that is that I know nothing. But I'm very, I have perceptions about things some more than others. And anyway, you came into my experience thanks to a friend of mine who pointed you out. Um, I haven't dove into your, all what you do, although I have sneak peeked a little bit just to get the feel. Um, so I'm gonna let you yourself introduce yourself and tell, make an introduction and tell people what you feel is important to know about you.
Wow. Hmm. Well, I'm a regular Norwegian kind of guy with who started having some spiritual experiences, and I started sharing about those point of views and perspectives online, and I noticed people were relating, and it was fun, like you said, and I did it mostly for me. And then in the beginning, I was very shy, kind of, and awkward. Not a very camera friendly. So my higher self started telling me like you have to start making videos, and I was like, oh no. But then I gradually became more and more comfortable with the idea, and doing lives, and sharing my experience and how I saw things, because I realized a lot of people like me, like I was in the beginning, were very programmed and put in a box. So they were seeing things from the box that they had been given. So they kind of produce their spiritual experiences from the boxes, from the New Age community and kind of New Age religion, which of course is all fine and good, but I'm a system buster. So if I enter a belief system and it has flaws, eventually I will kind of pick it apart with my analysis, and will find I will find the other truth behind the current belief system. And so I did, with many of them, and I realized, there's always more truth. And every time I found myself, oh, now I have the answer, yes, I've arrived, then boom, all the walls would come down, and I would see a mountain behind the other mountain, and like, oh, we got to climb that one too. And so I realized that as modern day mystics or spiritual travelers as we are, we will never really have the whole truth and nothing but the truth. The truth evolves as we evolve and as our belief systems evolve. So what might be true to one person, and because they are also believing so strongly in that belief system, they will produce their experience from that belief system. And even though it may not be true, it will be true to them because they believe it so strongly. And but eventually, evolution waits for no man or their belief systems. So we will kind of have to evolve. And so I found the best ways to do that myself was to question every belief that I had and put it to the acid test, as they say, and see if it would hold water. And I'm coming to find that most all of it is BS. And
can I just ask you a question? I will have some questions probably, and so I'll maybe cut you off because I try to make some notes, but also I will take it as it comes. But like when you say you break down your belief system, which you of course got from some information at one point in time, when you then look at it again, do you then use more your intuition and your straight up feelings to answer those questions, or you take information from another place?
No, it's become more from the higher self and more from analysis and intuition. I don't really watch any spiritual teachers anymore. I like to be my own guru. And I think most people should be their own guru and get in connection with their own higher self, to let the higher self be the teacher and let life teach us. I think the age of the guru is kind of gone, hopefully, because most of them seem to be placed on a pedestal and then they turn out to be just as human as the rest of us, and flawed and addictions and lust and desire and all of the things that make us human. So I think we live in a time where people are going to have to go more inwards rather than online to find the articles and to find the information. I'm excited about that part.
Yeah, and it seems to be kind of something that's in the time, or that comes with the time. We enter the Aquarius, and some would say that's the age of Christ consciousness, unity consciousness. So it's nothing we can escape. It's just a matter of how long we take to embrace it, actually, right?
And the more we resist, the more painful it is. In my experience, at least, the more I try to control, and the more I try to, put my force on anything, except for my own vitality and my energy field, then most things require less force and power just to kind of flow with the information that's coming through, flow with the information that's coming in, flow with the information that's kind of showing up in the in our mystical experience of life, and in terms of synchronicities and guidance and the way that the divine speaks to us in our daily life. And yeah, that's a beautiful part about the Christed consciousness. The crown lights up, and we become illuminated from within. We begin to shine different kind of light and consciousness out of our eyes. Heart-based consciousness, and our actions are very much saturated by that consciousness, and we don't produce karma as people believe anymore. I don't believe in I've come to experience that heart-based beings don't produce karma. And we are free of the notion of accumulated karma, because there is no past lives anymore. There's no future lives. Everything is now in an infinite moment. So I can access those other nows and other timelines and realities and pull in information or from my consciousness there, talents, gifts, traits, for example. And I think we do this work over many lifetimes. And so there's not really anything to pay back, but it's certainly a gift that keeps on giving and keeps paying back in the form of life enriching us. Life gets better, our health gets better, our relationships get more and more better, even though they kind of, some people get more challenged the more light you hold. They'll get triggered by you. So you have to kind of take into account their triggers and inner child and the work that they either haven't done or are trying to do or on their way to do. But that's all okay. We all have to do that work. And just because some of us have been fortunate enough to come across people that helped us do that work, or we did it ourselves, we all have to do that work. So it's just a matter of holding the door open for those that have yet to do that work. And I mean that also in a literal sense, like being kind at a grocery store and holding the door open for someone who's coming after you. They don't even need to have hands full of grocery bags, but just welcome,
Being
just
virtuously, basically.
Yeah.
Virtuously, yeah. Virtuous. Would you say, you mentioned this life or this experience in your, what's your perception of this, whatever it is we are a part of? Are we spiritual beings having a human experience, or are we, is anything physical? What's your
I used to do some psychedelics when I was a teenager, which led me to have some shamanic experiences, where I experienced there to be very little, reality. There was 99.9% space and nothingness and energy. And later in life, I've come to experience as well, with a sober mind, in a sober states, the very same things. But due to Kundalini awakening and spiritual energies, that we are, in fact, 99%, 99.9% energy and space, and the rest is atoms. And I've seen myself and other people have morphogenetic qualities, like when they are around a certain set of friends, their face morphs and they look more like the group consciousness that they're holding in that space. And when they are alone, or they may be tuning into another timeline, and their shape, the face shifts, the whole look on their, and it's very much about energy. When someone thinks beautiful thoughts, they become beautiful to us. And when they think depressing thoughts, it tends to show on their face somehow. So I'm energy all the way from that 99.9% space all the way to our physicality. The energy dominates how we assemble our atoms, the molecules, rearrange and even regenerate and rejuvenate ourselves. And we can actually grow younger with this awareness. And the more spiritual light we can anchor into our bodies, the more I see people grow younger. The more I see them, rejuvenate. And so, yeah, we're very much multi-dimensional spiritual beings having third-dimensional human experience, which is, of course, transitioning through the various densities and dimensions as well, all depending on what we're able to tune into with our Christed consciousness, so to speak.
You mentioned, just to go back a little bit.
Deep shit, man.
Very, 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 but so interesting.
Yeah.
But again, not for everybody, because myself on my journey, you tend to come over some information. You're not ready to understand this information, so you think this person is crazy because he's talking about something you don't understand. And later you are ready and you will it will connect, right? So careful with judging people who's not of the same perception as you. But you mentioned when you're young you fiddled around with some psychedelics, as did I. I don't know what's your take on this, but to me, it seems, to me at least, what I see in my experience, that a majority, let's say, people coming from that kind of experience with one thing and another, be it psychedelics, ecstasy, LSD, or other things. I find it to be a, how do you say, overvekt of
greater emphasis of people from that background,
from that sphere. So that's interesting. I think probably my friend who tipped me about you whispered in my ear about your kind of, I don't know if you feel comfortable talking about your, let's say, way to waking up, like your life before. Where did you come from? I understand you have had your, let's say, dark night of the soul.
I put it in my book for those who are interested, Holistic Mental Health for the Golden Age, where I wrote about my journey through the mental health care system here in Norway. And it was very, very challenging, and it took me 5 or 6 years of rehabilitation and they medicated me and locked me up and all these things. And because I was under, how you say, I was in court, so it was mandated tvang.
Yeah.
So I was forcefully medicated, forcefully locked up, and even though it was better than prison because I had just had a hard seed awakening, so I was very, very soft, fragile, and I was redeeming myself from my actions as a fucking idiot, I was a drug addict, so most of my actions were in service to self, of course, at times violent, and abusive to my family and friends and to society. The abuse that had happened to me when I was a child and as a teenager, especially all the harassment from law enforcement and things just for smoking some hash and weed when I was a kid, wanting to make music, when I was an innocent hippie back then.
Yeah.
But with all the violence I experienced, I myself became violent, so you kind of become like the environment that you're in to survive. But then when the Kundalini awakening happened and the heart seed awakening happened, and I could see all the wheels of what you would call karma, I guess, the wheels of the universe, and how my life would turn out if I let those wheels keep moving. And I saw nothing but, rehab, prison, death, violence, shit, awful stuff. So I was like, oh no, I don't want to experience that. So I became, I saw this word for it yesterday, conscientious objector, where you consciously don't do a thing. You sit still so that you don't make a ripple in the universe. You just I'm gonna sit here. I'm not gonna blow on a leaf. I'm not gonna move a stone. I'm not gonna touch the gravel. I'm just gonna sit here, and if I do nothing, then maybe nothing will happen to me, And so
How did
I
that
did
work?
that. I did that for a long time. I sat in the darkness and accepted my own personal private hell. I started hearing people's thoughts and feelings. I could sense what they were thinking, like telepathy.
Yeah, but just a question: Did you when you sat there, was it kind of like in a meditative state, or just being, or like how did you approach the situation?
A little bit of everything. A little bit of everything. I got so turned on psychically that it gave me agoraphobia.
What?
Agoraphobia. I didn't dare to go out the door. So in the beginning, I would walk to my mailbox and walk home. And then eventually, I would take my dog that I got from rehab. One of the rehab people were selling their dog, and he chose me. So we would go for a walk for 10 minutes, 50 minutes, and he had anxiety. He was a very anxious dog. So I realized, okay, I'm the one who's going to have to be the dog here. And so it gave me some courage on behalf of him.
Mm-hmm.
I had someone to protect and look after, which is always a good thing. So I would walk a little bit further every time. Eventually, I would have my mom drive me to the store, and I would sit outside the store and wait while she was inside, and she would get something. Eventually, I would go into the store, grab a few things, and go for the cashier. Three things I remember: I would get a cupcake, a Coke, and some cigarettes, and run straight out. Sometimes my hand would be shaking so much that the money would just go all over the place. Now, wow, and then one time I would came to the register and just passed out. And I woke up like shaking, lying there having a shock. So, but I kept going. I kept going back to the store, and eventually I did all my groceries, and was able to pay without my hands like they were shaking, man. And then I would and then I got online and I was like, okay, I think I'm ready for the world. I'm gonna see what my former associates and people and friends are up to, and I'm gonna write some people and apologize for my behaviors along the way, and see if they're if they're still feeling inflamed about the situation.
I just want to mention that we have Josh in the chat, I see, and he just made a comment: the mind creates incredible illusions. Well done for taking the journey. So well done for taking the journey. And also I'm hoping that we can have maybe a three-way with Josh at one time, because which we'll get into, what you and Mary Gray, your wife, is doing is very similar to what Josh and Michelle is doing, but a little bit off.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, that's definitely part of the spiritual journey once we, to commit to the union of opposites in the process of alchemy, first within and then on the outside, and then we kind of become, like I said, door holders or portiers for other people in the process of alchemy to kind of walk through. So yeah, that's kind of mostly what my work is about these days. The divine union and the new template of love and relationships on this planet as we know it. The previous relationships, they don't work. The relationships we have within politics, within our governments, within work. Most people are prostituting themselves for money, selling their soul and their sole purpose away to fulfilling somebody else's dream. So that's what ignites me the most when I see people like you, inspired and passionate about who they are and who others are, and people living in their blueprint, bringing their consciousness to the table, dreaming their dream instead of dreaming someone else's dream for them.
Exactly. Because I've seen you talk a lot about this blueprint. Can you elaborate a little bit about what you put into this blueprint?
Yeah. So those probably, like Josh as well will relate to that. The ones, some people call it twin flames, but it's a very limiting label and limiting belief system. We are multidimensional souls. So there's more than one avatar that we can link and connect to. There's more than one timeline for us to live out. So there's a whole monad of avatars that we can link and connect to. And there's a whole myriad of timelines to choose from, and each choice brings you to a different timeline. every day. Every day we're making plenty of choices, and it's like when we're driving down the street, what road you take determines kind of the timeline. So it behooves us to have a very, very fine-tuned spiritual or mystical instrument in which to tap into and feel what the various choices will, where they will take us, where they will lead to. I'm very, very careful these days with the choices I make now, as opposed to what led me to the crisis that I had almost 20 years ago now. But it becomes easier as we flow with the mystical, with the synchronicities and the way that life speaks to us and our higher self speaks to us. So I'm not in control of this life or this incarnation. My higher self has a very specific plan for how we are going to conduct and orchestrate this mission or this blueprint.
Personally, I would say, I have to say, I'm kind of, I don't like to label anything, neither myself or like where I'm coming from, but I see my approach to, let's say, life is very much kind of like a Taoist way, where I like, how much would you say is also, do you believe in coincidences? Also, how much would you say is written? Also, how much is set? Is there a meaning with everything that happens? And if so, was it pre-written? Is it kind of a, where I wanted to go? I kind of, for me, I have the trust that everything that will happen when it's meant to happen. And if I'm not standing in my own way, that will take me the shortest way to where I'm meant to go. So by not thinking about the future, try to, I'm not trying to, and that, this about manifesting, I'm sure I know that that's the thing. For me, I'm just not into it. I'm not trying. I'm just ready to take what comes. But
there are some dangers in that with what I call passive spirituality. If it gets too passive and we're kind of not using our imagination or not manifesting, it can often get a little passive in the terms that we believe too much in destiny or too much in things being set in stone. That can often create problems for someone who was in a place where I was, where the wheels were kind of taking me to a place where I did not want to go. I saw my own death, and it was not beautiful stuff. So I stopped the wheels of karma, and I rewrote my stars, and I chose my blueprint. And my blueprint is kind of like, from my blueprint, I can assemble my reality in all kinds of different ways. So just because it's a blueprint doesn't mean that it's stuck or set. But it means from that blueprint, I can choose many different timelines and realities because we're multidimensional, but they would kind of have the same flavor-ish. Not the same flavor in each timeline, but close. So I experienced that and this is just my experience, and like I say, our belief systems shape our experience and our reality. So I don't know if it's necessarily the experience that gave me the belief system or if my belief system gave me the experience. It's kind of like those are some of the things that are fun to play with. But yeah, also I'm kind of tuning in to myself a little. There's a destiny where you kind of allow things to happen. And then you also have the power to rewrite your stars if you also want that. It's kind of like free will and co-creatorship. There is most certainly a blueprint, but there's also free will involved. So you can kind of play with that blueprint. And not all of us have the same blueprint either. So you have a blueprint with your specific talents, gifts, and traits. And if you don't hone those talents, gifts, and traits, they won't go very far. But you still have that infinite potential of fulfilling them and making them to something spectacular that is unique to you. But you have the free will to do something with them. And so I have my talents, gifts, and traits, which are unique to me. And so there really is no need for jealousy or for envy or anything like that. Because what is mine and comes through me and to me is like you say, meant for me. And what is coming through you and to you is meant for you. However, if we have yet to do the work of healing our self-sabotage and our self-importance or self-pity, then, because with the self-importance and the self-pity again comes the jealousy and the envy and feeling like we're lacking, or this person is farther ahead than me in some guitar playing skill and I wish that I was so good as them. But then I realized, okay, if I sit down and I practice my guitar, I could possibly be that good and do what they do, but I would have to practice. And so if everyone knew their blueprint, everyone knew their talents, gifts, and traits, and they would know what they are passionate about, they would know what they are here to kind of do. And I don't think we would have all this problem on this planet if everyone knew what they love to do, exactly. If everyone knew what they were good at. They could make money off of that rather than work at Circle K or
Have the concept of human design crossed your experience?
Very much.
Because I was just made aware this weekend actually by a friend of mine who and he showed me an app, human design app. You put in your date, your date of birth, time of anything, and
what are you?
I was a manifesting creator. Don't exactly know what that means, except if it means
manifesting generator.
Manifesting generator.
Yeah. My wife is a manifesting generator. You guys have a lot of energy, and like you can do almost anything you put your mind to, anything that you want to do. It's just a matter of you kind of feeling excited about it. That's very cool.
Yeah, it is totally new for me. Just downloaded the app. I will check everyone I know.
Yeah, it's the same as with the Zodiac. You kind of go through.
It's very similar, right?
Learn more about people.
Very similar, and also have something similar to this chakra system in this. How do you say?
The body graph.
Yeah.
So I also looked a little bit into the gene keys, which is a little bit human design and a little bit I Ching as well. It's taking the human design even a step further. Some people say that he stole a little bit from the human design, but things are always evolving, and so The human design is a little bit from the zodiac, and the gene keys is a little bit from the human design, but I think they're all really fun to play with because they're so spot on,
And
very spot on.
that's what we're okay. First, I'm gonna write a note to put the link to the Human Design app in the show notes later, so people can look it up. But and that's kind of to the point.
And this is an interesting part that I don't think many people have realized. I like to play around with words and things, and the guy that created the human design call themselves Ra Uruhu or something.
Okay.
And I played around with it a little bit. Hooray, you are you. So it's kind of like a little anagram for celebrating your design or celebrating your blueprint. So I think he was trying to be a little bit humorous with all of it as well.
Wouldn't surprise me. But being as it is, that we have now human design, and it's for me it actually I don't have it here, so I can't. I have it here, but it was written into another phone and read from another phone, so I have to do a lot process. But basically, it said that I was supposed to do more or less what I'm doing now.
Yep.
Be kind of a spreader of let's say information
and making lots of connections. That's kind of the manifesting generators gift. And you're making lots of connections for yourself, and then you're also connecting other people.
Exactly.
And you need to be out there. You need to kind of be with one ear at the train tracks, and and just feeling people and crowds and networks and things out, and then figure out who you want to play with.
yeah, and that's something definitely that has happened. Like this journey brings people into my life out of nowhere, let's say, but of course not. But they come, yeah. And then I need to introduce this one to that one, and it's been a lot of that lately, and all without me doing anything other than being as much as possible in the now, not thinking about the future or the past. And things happen. It's not, I try to say to people that it's not like if you trust and let go that your life stops in its tracks. On the contrary. But of course, I think you mentioned it before. There are probably some steps you need to take, some work you have to do before you're ready to trust and let go, or any other approach one takes.
If you have lots of self-sabotage and you manifest the life of your dreams, then you're probably gonna mess up when you get there. So one of the things that I always tell my clients is, you're gonna have what you want, but you better be ready then. You better be ready. And so that's why we do most inner child work with my clients and emotional body work. Yeah. So that we can go back to that initial wound of abandonment and realize that we are abandoning ourselves. And we abandon ourselves a little every day with TV, with music, books, movie, YouTube, Facebook, other people, selling our soul to the man, working for the man, all these things. So to kind of bring it back to stop distracting ourselves from the pain that's want to be, whether it's pain in the body or pain in the heart, pain in the soul, in the gut. The pain is there as a language to speak to us, to tell us okay, you need to stop lifting heavy for a while and your back will be better. Or you need to stop running because you gained some weight this winter and you're gonna fuck up your knees, or pardon my French, something like that, and if it's pain in the solar plexus, like it's emotional pain, then the pain is telling you, okay, you need to feel that pain and heal that pain, and underneath that pain there's beautiful feelings to be felt. There's
Exactly.
you know
Again, I can, I when I talk mostly about myself and things I've been, going through, because it's something I can talk about with some sense of certainty.
yeah
And for me, it was also a pain. It was kind of a anxiety that made me want. I wanted to know why I had this anxiety. I wanted to get rid of the anxiety, actually, of course,
yeah
like everyone wants to. Um, and it was. I didn't understand why I had the anxiety, because I had I saw and I knew I had everything I could ever need, and probably a bit more. But where was this, you know, bad sensation in the stomach coming from? Um then you get aware that there's something called intuition and you wish to use it, but you have this anxiety that blocks you from feeling anything else than anxious. So that was what led me into, some plant medicine ceremonies, and I actually credit them for, let's say, getting out of the forest. um, so yeah, that's probably we all have our different triggers, I guess.
yeah yeah and but it's always the same medicine. It's to feel it and sit with it, and that's kind of what the psychedelics and the plant medicines do. They force you to kind of, it's like grabbing your head, like, look at this, and like then you try to close your eyes and no, it's still there. So there's nowhere to run. And it was kind of like that with the Kundalini and the heart seed awakening too. It served in the same way that the plant medicine does. So there's definitely, you know, they are on this planet for a reason. And I think they are a human right that it's one of the human rights that we have to use what grows on this planet and to be aware of them. And because we are alienated from them and people become easily addicted to them and abuse them because they don't understand them, like cannabis, for example, is a power plant, and most people don't see it as a power plant, so they don't understand that it comes with an exchange of power. And if you tell someone who's using it medicinally or recreationally that it's actually a power plant, then they don't want to hear it. They refuse to hear it. Hello. Hi.
Just saying good night.
Good night. Fine drømmer.
Lukter det, da? Takk.
The dad life is the best life.
Yes, and you have quite recently become a dad.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Absolutely. I did not expect it at 43. But to have yeah, that's actually the most psychedelic experience I've ever had, to know that there was this life inside this belly. And immediately I started talking to him like he was there, and I wanted him to be as much aware of my presence as he was. Since he was inside his mom, he knew her, And so I wanted to make my presence known and
Mm.
let him know that I was there right from the beginning. And from the moment he was born, he he had this way of looking at me as well, like he knew me, and it's the most amazing thing I've ever experienced. And I see now that that's where my purpose lies as well, within the family unit, to kind of be the father that I never had, and to also parent myself in a different way now that I'm a dad too. I have become the father I always needed when I was younger. So there's more masculine presence within me now due to the alchemy that my son brought forth, for sure. And yeah, I can't wait to till he starts talking, and have conversations, so you can begin to ask the questions about life, and I can say, I really don't know, but here's what I see and feel, and how
Is
does
it,
that feel for you?
if things are the same, I hope not, but let's say regarding the school system, when he's that age, would you put him through that?
No,
No.
I do not want him to be. I'm anxious about putting him in the kindergarten up here, because they feed their kids so much food-like products, tubos, bacon, cheese, all these things that are 50% food filling waste, and the rest is cheese. So it's like,
Mm.
I don't want my son to um, be fed that stuff, and because you become what you eat. And I try to eat as much organic food as possible. I tried the whole vegetarian and vegan, but I came back to primal eating, the way our ancestors ate. So I eat a lot of meat. I swear to butter. I hate plant oils. I hate how they make me feel, how they make me look, how they age me.
Mm.
I don't recommend them at all. They're full of polyunsaturated fatty acids, and they age you like olive oil, sometimes a little. But butter is medicine. It's got a bad rep. They did the same with the butter that they did with the vaccines. They blame all this mystery illness going on now, with everyone mysteriously falling over. And it
What
was
a
the same with the
mystery.
butter. They blamed all when they introduced the oils. People started getting really, really fat and unhealthy, and they blamed the butter. It's the peanut oil, it's the
Yeah.
rapeseed canola oil, and all these oils that is the culprit of the obesity and all that stuff, and it degenerates our cells, and it's awful, awful stuff. So no, I'm definitely not going to put him in the regular school system. He's going to Montessori or
Steiner or
to
something.
Steiner, something like that, so he
Mm.
can explore his blueprint with other children that are exploring their blueprint, and figure out what he's good at, what he loves doing, and not become another brick in the wall, as Pink Floyd said.
We talked a little bit about diet, and it's interesting. I'm very into and interested in diet, and have done different variety of diets. Previously, I was a bodybuilder when I was, let's say, young, at least
Oh,
from 20 to 30-ish,
yeah.
or probably 18 to, yeah, 30, yeah. Um, but with Josh and the X family, as we call it, all our the family are mostly frugivores or fruitarians, with the basic thought that what our system needs is glucose and essential amino acids. We're left with one problem. Our fruit isn't heirloom fruits. They are not as they should be. They are not containing all that they should. So it's not easy. That's why we're looking into moving from, probably we should be living somewhere near equator, for a variety of reasons. But I've come to it resonates to me that we should try to keep our system alkaline, not acidic. And with that in mind, it's not. Then we're basically left with raw, plant-based, predominantly fruit.
I'm following a very interesting guy called Atom Bergstrom. He's an 85-ish-year-old guy from California. He used to work with the health food stores in Texas and some in California, and he's got so much good information that has challenged me to grow further, and because I was very into the whole alkaline stuff in the beginning. I did my super green, I did sodium bicarbonate water, and lots and lots of I did fruit cleanses, and he basically says that the whole alkaline thing is a little bit of a myth. I'm exploring some of that information now and finding it to be, you know, we need a balance. It needs to be not too alkaline either, because if it is, then our acids and stuff in the body, we produce those the cells and the proteins and everything that needs to kind of bind in a and I'm not very good at the scientific talk when it comes to that stuff. I'm more of a mystic than a scientist. So, but I'm understanding it from a place where I can utilize it in my life. I've also tried the vegetarian, and in a way that I would not buy the vegan products at the store. I would make stuff from scratch. I would spend a lot of my time food prepping. But then I realized also you got to eat what's local. And because I wasn't eating locally and imported fruits, and I wasn't getting enough fats, I wasn't getting enough butter and meat. So my body started to kind of the autoimmune symptoms that I was kind of struggling with a decade ago, they started flaring up again with the fruitarian lifestyle and the vegan. So I reintroduced, to my wife's great detriment. She didn't want to go down that road at all. So I reintroduced meat, and I reintroduced the butter, and slowly but surely I started healing again and started looking younger again. And I came across the ex-vegan people that had broken that belief system as well, as a system buster in their own right. And it just became clear to me that people would get addicted to the detoxing, so I saw a good friend of mine online. She died this year from the detoxing, from Hilde Larsen. She died from all the detoxing and the fruitarianism. She was following Dr. Morse, one of the greatest in his field there. I've been following him for a long time and did some excellent healing work with his information, but to stay there, it just causes a lot of strain on our organs, and especially kidneys and liver, and we think that it's doing a lot of good, but the body's not getting enough nutrients to recover from the detox process. And so I found that it scared me a little bit, and especially how much some of my friends were pushing it as well. Like, I was a hypocrite for loving my dog and eating a lamb, um, or how how could I leave the vegan path? I've already known all these symptoms that I had was just detox reactions and detox symptoms. And if I just stayed a little bit longer on the path, I would have
How
regained my health.
how long did you stay on that path? Like did you struggle with these symptoms for a long period of time? And
I
what was the
was
symptoms?
for 3 years. I was looking really good. I started rejuvenating, of course, due to the detox process and all that. But then I started having uh, lack. My nails were brittle. My eyes were faded and kind of grayish. My hair started falling out again in clumps, and um, I would just be very, very tired and angry all the time. And I realized my body's not getting what it needs.
Mm.
I'm not meant to live this way. And especially as a Norwegian with Norwegian blood and my ancestry up here, 9 months of the year, I can't live on coconuts and bananas and things like that. It's not in my ancestral bloodline to live that way. I'm kind of going against nature. Okay, so then I reintroduced a little bit here and there and made sure that it was organic. And I realized, oh my God, all these nutrients there. I can, all of a sudden I felt ready to fight again. and I found other people that had experienced the same things. And where I believe that if we're going to live that way, we have to live in the tropics. But not all of us could move to the tropics either. Then it's going to be overpopulated there, and who's going to live up here and take care of the grid spots and the land up here and help heal this part of the world? So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to stay here for now. I'm thinking of relocating towards Spain eventually because they have a little bit more freedom than we do here in Norway. Especially in terms of the work that I want to do in the future with incorporating all my skills that are kind of illegal here in Norway. And because I love and respect my son and my family, I would not want to risk anything on their behalf. So I'm kind of having that as future plans, whether I go to Spain or some other country.
You can just come and join us when we are set up somewhere.
Yeah,
I just want
I'm.
to mention
I'm.
one.
Yeah.
No, I just want to say one thing about the diet just before we leave it, because for me it's like I can't think that it's all about calories and fats and carbs, and because I think it's also this, when you eat something that's alive, you also eat, also a plant is kind of light. It's
Plant is
photons.
also alive. I learned that through my plant medicine and shamanic work too. The plants are also alive, and because they do not want to be eaten, most of them, they are full of plant toxins
Not the
and
fruit.
chelates, which then will
That's true.
rob our body of the nutrients that we think we're getting. So there's a lot of, like, the celery juicing by Anthony. That's one of the worst things we can do to our body,
I agree.
actually.
Because
Uh,
if you sorry to interrupt you, but just
no,
if just thinking, if you okay, let's say take a, what is it called, Kirlian photograph.
yeah,
You have this photograph that pic- photographs energy. So I'm just thinking, okay, we eat the energy, the life force, as well as the nutrients, the minerals, the vitamins, everything.
yeah.
But just to put it in, and I agree with you about the greens, also the salads and the spinach and the whatever it is. But the fruits,
The fruits are prime,
the
and
fruits,
our
because they are.
ancestors ate the fruits. They ate fruit, butter, raw milk, cheese, meat, honey, and occasionally they would, if they were starving, of course, berries. And if they were starving, they would turn towards some kind of leafy green that would sustain them until they were able to kill prey or find honey or these things. So 100% agree with you on the fruit. It's the other parts of the whole vegan agenda, and they want to take away all our land. They want to make sure that we don't have any animals. They want to make sure that we can't meet our own needs, so that they can, give us synthetic meat. They want to give us synthetic food. They want to take away all our land so we own nothing and that we're happy.
Yeah, you can do lots of things wrong being a vegan. Just so that's
Yes.
mentioned. That's
Yes.
we want to avoid. I think going for also, like Josh always say, if you go for a whole food diet, like you say, ecological or organic whole food diet, you can live a long and healthy life.
Yes.
If you need to heal something, you have an issue with anything, I think, juice or water fast, those kind of things can get you through them
Yeah.
in a quite good way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would make sure to be, if you're going to do like water fast, I would make sure that your organs are optimal and that you can take the strain that comes from that, and to kind of feel your way into it. Not, I see so many that people that overdo it, and they end up getting addicted to coffee enemas. They end up getting addicted to fasting, water fasting, or fruit fasting, and they starve themselves. And that does something to your consciousness and to your body as well. So, and then comes this whole supplement fad that's going on now, where everyone's taking all kinds of supplements because they think we're lacking vitamin D, but taking vitamin D is one of the most dangerous things we can do. It's all PUFA as well. We should get that hormone juicing from the endocrine system and from the sun, and only the sun, and the various foods that also contain vitamin D, of course.
But you have to wear sunscreen, right?
Hell no.
No, exactly.
No, no, no.
They're trying to.
Full of chemicals, which makes our lymphatic system full of chemicals, and then we get lymphatic cancer, and we wonder why.
Yeah. What's happened?
We
I
have
was
to be
so
very,
good with the
very
sweets.
on our toes in this society, because everything is backwards. We're living in Alice in Wonderland, where everything is kind of upside down and backwards. And
So, or have you? Do you drink milk?
no, milk is one of the first things I cut out. I do have some organic cheese. Norway is finally getting better at this organic deal. It's still expensive as F, but so I eat some organic cheese. I eat a lot of rørosmør,
Yeah.
røros butter. It's been one of my greatest medicines, and um,
You also have a
uh,
Røros rømme, right?
oh, it's
Not
amazing.
pasteurized or very little.
Yeah,
It
I
seems
love
like.
that. I actually have 2 or 3 boxes in the refrigerator every week of that stuff. And then I try to make everything from scratch. I used to bake my own bread, but these days I don't. Because I started watching another guy now, and he's saying don't eat grains, or So
Just to say, what would be great is we could have um, a call with Josh, a podcast, and we can then I'm actually not. I can just be a bystander because Josh knows all these things a lot way better than me. And you can discuss these things because maybe it will connect with you in a way you haven't still seen, or I understand you have gone in details into it and you have tried and you have got the result that you're happy with, so everything is perfect. And as Josh says here, everyone must find their way, and it's all beautiful and very sweet. So it's all good.
I'm kind of like the Native Americans. They would be very, very high vibrational and very, very spiritual, and they had no problems with I want to learn how to raise my own animals and how to ritually take life and these things, instead of, because I know it's organic now and I'm eating the organic meat, but I'm I don't know how it's been killed. I want to be a part of that whole process as well, because I don't trust anybody. And that's the thing. The more I come to see and find of both human nature and our society and everything, the less I trust anything but my gut, and my gut feeling is telling me to get your own goats, Ulf. And
just 1 second, you have to excuse me for 2 minutes. I have to go to the toilet.
yeah.
Please elaborate on your thoughts about the animals.
Yeah, I believe that animals also come in with the awareness of what will happen in their life. They have also made an agreement, unfortunately, to be part of a lot of the torture that's going on now, in hopes to probably teach humankind a few things, which seems to be happening with the increase of awareness around organic farming and more compassionate animal farming. I'm definitely against industrial farming, very much against industrial farming of any kind, whether it's with animals or vegetables or whatever. I'm against export of food. I think we should eat locally. I think that in itself would take away the whole climate change issue that they're posing on us, telling us that we can't have our own animals and farms. They're trying to take away farms from people now. In Holland, I saw they were demonstrating, the farmers there. And so I see there's a whole agenda behind also the vegan industry, and also the farming and the export of things and the import. And I think that if we all just, kind of ate where we are, what we grew, and that's kind of the thing with psychedelics too. The power plants, they want to be consumed and eaten where they grow. That's where you will have the most beneficial experience out of it. I see people doing ayahuasca maybe out here, and I see there lots of people have lessons. I have lots of people coming to me with damage done by supposed shamans who have not had the extensive training that shaman in Peru would have over generations and passed down, for example. So there's a lot of damage to people's etheric fields and consciousness. I had 2 people came to me who later committed suicide because of their ayahuasca issues. So I believe ayahuasca should be taken in Peru, and I believe that our psilocybin mushrooms that we have growing here should be taken here. And we shouldn't travel very far with these medicines. We should pick the medicines where they grow and take them where they grow. And because they come with an exchange of power, that's how they are a power plant. And if we don't honor them in the right way, like so many people don't do with especially cannabis, then there will be an exchange of power that is not good or beneficial.
How would that actually manifest? Like, let's say you smoke a bit more than you should, or what's the right amount, if any?
The spirit of cannabis is like a conniving mistress. She will take over your whole life if you let her. Most people I know who smoke from they get up in the morning and they smoke until they go to bed at night. A lot of them. In that abuse, as someone who's energetically aware, I can, their hands are cold because their Jing Qi is being depleted. Their feet are often cold because their life force is being drained, and they're not aware of it because it's the way that it is part of our popular culture now, right? Is in a way that it is being used against us. We think that it's being legalized for good reasons, but believe you me, they have their reasons for wanting people to be fogged and behind smoke and mirrors for a reason. Yes, it is a very powerful medicine. If I ever were to contract cancer, I would immediately go to Amsterdam or California and get a hold of Rick Simpson oil and do vast amounts, including fasting, fruit fasting, and all of these things as well. That's where the power of fruit would come in full force for me, at least. And then I would be mindful of other things, probably some bone broth here and there, but not too much.
You take bones and you cook them, and this is the water left over from the products.
Yeah, that's highly nutritional and very, very healing. That's why chicken soup is so healing. You have some chicken soup on the night of a little cold, and cold is gone. But back to the cannabis, in the way that it's depleting the liver. It's depleting the liver and the liver meridian, and so there's energy being depleted out from the sacral and the root chakra, and that's why people's hands are cold and feet are cold when they smoke too much. And eventually, because it is Jing Qi that's being depleted, a lot of guys will experience erectile issues, for example, when they have smoked a lot over a longer period of time. They don't smoke, for example. And that's how cannabis is a power plant with an exchange of power. And so it gives something, but it takes something away. And that's the thing with every power plant. It gives something and it takes something away. So what are you willing for it to take away from you? And how often are you willing to let it take away from you until you realize that it's taken too much? It's the same with tobacco. Tobacco is an amazing medicine if it's used once in a while. If you get sick and you have a cigar and you puff and you let it, it will kill all the pathogens on your skin. It will kill a virus. It will. So with this whole COVID situation now, for example, any sign of a symptom, I would have a rollie of organic tobacco, Manitou. You can get it at most cigar shops and stores, completely organic, free of anything. I used to grow my own Hopi tobacco to use it in this shamanic sense where you blow it and take it over you like the Native Americans do, and you clean your aura and you clean the pathogens of your skin if you've been in a viral environment.
Interesting.
So, but if you smoke too much tobacco too, it'll fuck up your lungs and you'll lose the fire in your lungs, right? That's where we produce our fire and life force there too. So too much of any medicine, then it's a poison. And it's this knowledge that is lost with a lot of plant medicine practitioners. Something that I learned very, very harshly on my own body, and because mushrooms were my go-to psychedelic as a young man, and I would take heroic doses by myself, and just.
But isn't that again? I just have to ask. My experiences so far with mushroom has been in like a ceremony setting with other
Yes.
people, but I've been always thinking like I have had this feeling. I don't feel now the drawn to the psychedelics as I were. I know I'm kind of. It has helped me with what I sought to get help for. However, I've always been thinking that a heroic dose, a dark room, no music, nothing else than meeting yourself really could be interesting to try.
Yes. That's where I did my most work, and that's when because I had some childhood trauma, some childhood sexual abuse that I couldn't fully remember.
Mm.
And it was tormenting the life out of me and affecting my sexuality and my joy and my everyday happiness. And so I saw uh, I was bordering on chronic suicidal for most of my teenage years and my early 20s. And as a result of the abuse, and then how I would self-sabotage love, joy, happiness, all the good things in life from that wound. And then I had a moment of remembrance with psilocybin mushroom, and I kind of felt this entity that was riding my back. It's like my anger and my despair had become an entity all of its own.
Mm.
And it was kind of riding me like I was a horse and holding a carrot of my various addictions in front of me. And I was just riding into my own demise. But I got it off my back. But then I got so angry after I smashed my room with a hockey. Everything just went, and then I had a breakdown. Family members would come to my aid and kind of hold me down, and I was crying my eyes out and swearing like, where were you and where were you and why did how could anyone allow this to happen, like and then yeah, I then I wanted to get sober because I didn't want my addictions to ride me anymore. I didn't want to be a slave to anything. So I went into rehab, and then I became a slave to the system and their medications and things in order to clean me up. And so that's kind of been my whole path to hand over all my belief to some kind of system or to a savior, and then have them kind of be full of betrayal and bullshit. So that's why I guess I'm very, very skeptical about anything now. I'm like
As one
always
should be.
looking for the wrong within what I'm experiencing, kind
As
of.
one should be. Just curious, you mentioned, coming from the kind of the healthcare, not the healthcare, the mental healthcare system.
Yeah.
How how big of a percent or a part would you say people that are people that get there? How many of them would you say could actually be having a, let's say, for example, a Kundalini experience and not understand what it is at all?
All of them.
All of them. Okay.
All of them.
Yeah.
All of them. Or they're, or they're depressed in the middle of some dark night of the soul. And then they get medicated and it gets worse every time. I've not seen one person that has successful results from the medication. Because what these medications do, and here I actually have the science to back it up, and I put it in my book. I found it somewhere, and I'm seeing more and more evidence of it too with the new medications that they're putting out, how these medication depletes the nutrients in your body needed to have an optimal functioning mind, an optimal functioning endocrine system, to have an optimal life. And so these medications are slowly but surely depleting them of what they need to be sound of mind, of what they need to be happy or functioning even. So it's like, and then they, oh, okay, well, maybe we'll put you on another medication. Now you got two, right? But since those medications have such bad side effects, you're going to need a medication for those side effects. And those side effects, and eventually you're on 5 different pills, and they're really just milking you for all you're worth and giving you cancer, and they don't give a shit about you. They just want to make money.
Yeah. Did you? There was you answered my question perfectly. I just pulled up a thing because we were talking about the plants and the soil and those kind of things. There was an article in the Sun the other day, not media I normally go to, but it caught my eye because it was. Let me share the screen actually.
You're a pro at this. You can do a screen share.
Yeah.
I like it.
Pro is probably taking it a bit far, but can you see my screen now?
Yeah, this is awesome.
Did you see what? Urgent warning to gardeners as soil increase risk of killer heart disease. So now they will probably go for banning
Wow.
having a garden, kitchen garden, kjøkkenhage.
Yeah, and that's where you get all the microbes for a healthy immune system, of course. So now they got
something that I thought was interesting.
that used to be the first thing. If people had a bad immune system, I would say go dig in the dirt. Yeah. That's the first thing. That's where you get your microbes and
take a pinch or two and just swallow.
Oh my God. Yes, they're crazy. They don't want us to. There's definitely so many agendas running that are anti-life and anti-Christ consciousness, anti-creation. And, we got to be very much, the most important thing we can do now is what you're doing and what Josh and them is doing, from what I saw on their website, to make these tribes and have the tribes come together, because we're going to have to go back to the tribal life once all of this, because this is like a beast eventually going to eat itself, and we're going to be left without a monetary system, left without a food system, left without a healthcare system. We're going to have to understand, what plants can be used to heal what, and how we can sustain ourselves in the best way and help our communities, because there's no way that this can last. This is cancer on humanity, this whole consciousness.
George X has a valid point. The Sun just makes stories, and actually do. So there's it doesn't have to be any validity to the story itself, but it's right up there with the other absurdities.
Yeah,
the absurdities is going on is no less. crazy. Um,
It's
be
beautiful to be awake to it.
but
So
don't you
good
think
to see it.
that kind of what consciousness is doing now? It's waking people up to the fact that we've been, let's say, betrayed, led astray.
But the more we wake up, the more they turn it up too.
Exactly.
So the distortion and the noise is just getting louder and louder and more in your face, which kind of has a backfiring effect on their agenda as well, because more people are like, oh my God, I didn't see it sooner. This is, so more people are waking up from the fact. So I'm not.
Do you dare to guess when we will kind of get to a place where we can start building, making things better? When they lose their grip, then, let's say.
Between now and 2040, between now and then, I say, I'm feeling. A friend of mine says that we are in a window of opportunity now where we might become part of the.
Is your friend Klaus Schwab?
No,
He says that with a
where we might
window of opportunity.
a window of opportunity where we might become part of the galactic family again, where humanity will realize that we're not the center of the universe, and that we have many family members out there, the family of light, and the I don't like to say Galactic Federation and Ashtar and all that stuff, but those guys, the interdimensional terrestrials.
So
Those guys.
mentioning that we don't have to go into it. I just want to get a short answer. The Earth, or the planet, or the plane. What would you say? Round or flat?
Well, in alchemy, as above, so below. The cells in my body are not flat. The atoms are not flat. The other planets are not flat. I have thoroughly questioned this belief as well, like I do with all the beliefs, and I've just not found any evidence that supports neither, actually. So I'm just going with what I'm feeling, and the way that the sun rises and sets, and the seasons here up north kind of gives me a little clue that if it's flat, then they're doing a hell of a job. They're masters at creating a false season. So that's kind of where I lean with that, and I've been out of my body and I've not experienced it flat then. I wonder if the flat earthers are astral projecting, some of them, and I would love to. But here's also the shadow side of that. If you believe the earth is flat and you're astral projecting, the universe is mental, so you're going to experience what it is that you believe anyways. And you're going to see evidence of what it is that you believe, and that's the power of belief. And that's why I keep questioning my belief systems all the time, because I don't know if I have it right. I don't know if I have it right.
You can never stop. Josh because I know what Josh thinks, and he has a few comments. It's a plane of inertia from the energy of magnetism, or what the sign calls an atom / torus. The torus with the energy field with the inertia plane, and the thought is that we live on this 0-point inertia field, and in that sense, we have the what they call The dome is not the word I'm looking for. But
That's the thing I have a real problem with as well.
yeah,
A
but that's
dome.
yeah, but
Here's what they've misunderstood and misinterpreted from that is in the Bible they talk about the firmament. And
firmament was what I was looking for.
in the firmament, all right, the firmament is the mental sphere of our planetary consciousness. And once you if you go to look at the Flammarion engraving with the guy that's peeking through the firmament and he sees the cogs and the wheels of the universe, like I explained that I had in my Kundalini awakening. He has seen planetary consciousness for what it is. The guy that's peeking through. He is looking into cosmic consciousness. And there's nothing there. And the reason why there's nothing there is because all the labels, definitions, all our belief systems, our understanding, all our words, everything here on Earth is simply of Earth. It's within the firmament. It's planetary consciousness. In cosmic consciousness, you don't experience nothing of that. It isn't anymore. So our definition of God, there is no God in cosmic consciousness. Our religions, all of them is bullshit.
I agree on.
Our ideas of politics, all of them bullshit. Our ideas of creed, borders, there's no borders from space. I'm not a Norwegian. I'm a Northman living on, so all of these are simply just delusions. And most of what human beings believe in are, in fact, delusions. We are very, very delusional as people. That's why it's so easy to fool us too, because we want to believe and we are superstitious. And we want to believe in the magic and that it's something special or something mystical. We really want to, and the mythologies all kind of point back to that. But yeah, the firmament is simply that. It's a mental sphere. It's something that's within here, something that's in the mind. And when we let go of those labels, definitions, words, how we define our reality based on our conditioning and programming and patterning and all that, and it's just all gone. There's nothing there. And it's the cosmic consciousness is just like nothingness. There's nothing there. And it's just two things there as well as it is here. Source creative energy, masculine and feminine principles, and how they are attacking that as well with the whole gender delusion, mental illness made common. They put up a statue in London today, I think, with a woman with a penis. She has boobs and a bear on the top of her head, a bear cub and a penis. The statue is named Modern Woman. So it's mental illness, and our whole popular culture, our counterculture as well, drug culture, it's mentally ill. It's very inflamed. The sex, drugs, rock and roll, and then you have for the gangster rap for the black people. Here's the thing: who's making all that money from all those drugs? Do you think? Who's making money from all those people going to prison? Who owns the prisons? It's the very same people that owns the record labels that produces the gangster rap. So they're investing in more records being produced with that kind of mentality to get more Black people and more white trash Americans and white trash into the prison system. So if they can, you know, then they make more money from people being in their prisons. They can build more prisons, and then they can produce more records. And it's just
Probably that it doesn't stop with prisons and record labels. They're probably owning most of everything else as well.
all of it, you know, the movie industry. So and
If you know, was it
and the
Black Rock?
Medicaid, the pharmacopoeia, the pharmaceuticals, and all of it. So yeah,
The weapon industry, the war, also
weapon
there's
war machine. Holy
War
shit!
Machine, War Machine.
Oh my god, yeah, they're crazy. These Romans, and that's another thing. We are still Roman. The Roman Empire never fell. The Nazi Empire is still very much NASA and all that, as all of you know. But we have a place called the Roman Empire up here, right above Oslo, Romerike.
Yeah,
You
it's true.
know, that should tell us something. It goes all the way up to the last.
I never thought about that actually. Romerike og Romerrike. That's
Oh,
fucked up.
that's really so. They're in all parts of the world. And who's the Romans? Well, the Vatican. And who answers to the Vatican? Yeah, the Queen of England. And what does the Queen of England own? Well, she owns Canada, America. She owns Australia. She owns most of Asia. She went to China at some point, I think, and waged war on them. You know, so it's most of the world. And it's Russia. That's why they get such a bad rap, right?
Hmm.
Russia, and then you have a little bit of Portuguese and Spain owned Latin America, but the majority of the world. And the Netherlands have like a few of the African countries, and you know, but most of Africa as well is owned by the British Empire, and so
Hmm.
that's it's a shame that the Vikings didn't manage to off those MFs when they had the chance. The world would have probably been a very different place. We would have been.
Exactly. We were on a roll, but we
We
didn't.
were on a roll.
Sverre have a comment. Most Norse people are Scandi-naive.
I love it. Yeah,
Scandi-naive.
and be
Scandi-naive.
naive. Yeah, yeah. You know, we want to believe, and this is the thing. We want to believe, and we want to believe in. And so, at some point, I don't know what to believe because we want to believe so strongly.
You know, I given up believing, or I don't. I come to the realization I don't have to. I don't have to know. I don't have
No.
to know what will change for me as long as I'm me and
Yeah.
I'm focusing on a friend of mine. I use that all the time. A friend of mine said it very simple. Actually, a guy living here in Skien. One should try. One should focus on trying to feel as good as possible, as much as possible of the time.
Yes. Yeah.
Quite simple, but
Yeah.
but yeah. But regarding, let me just read a few of the comments Josh made while we were talking about the flat Earth, and we can leave it for a call when we can be together on it. Regarding last thing I said, or what science calls an atom torus, it's relative to the moon's position, cold, and the sun's position, heat. This is probably comments as we were talking.
We're
So,
talking.
procession reciprocating hyperboloid. It's the field. Ment gives it away as a firmament. It's the firm a mind. Consciousness created the idea of form, and we are not form. Every even the torus field is an idea within the one.
Yeah.
And Josh likes to break up the words, so his reality is real, I, tie.
Tied
Masculine,
to reality.
yeah.
Yeah.
Masculine and feminine energies create form. or light life. Magnetism will reveal all the truths around form. Plus and minus create dipolar state. This creates plasma, the substrate of form, albeit a formless form. So he's a bit beyond me, understanding all these things. But I have a feeling, and being a manifesting generator, I have a feeling that you two should meet. I don't even have to be there. I just have a feeling that you should have a call. But this will manifest.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm a projector in the human design. I'm a heretic martyr, so I've spent most of my life as living out my design as a martyr and hanging myself on the cross over and over and over again.
Oh.
And I've very much stepped into my heretic part of this journey, where I am kind of embodying what nobody wants to hear. but everyone kind of needs to.
Definitely. You know what?
It's not easy, man. It's not easy going from first a martyr and a heretic. I'm damned if I do, and I'm damned if I don't.
But it's all
So
perfect.
I've learned to love going against the grain, against the stream, fairly early on, especially growing up. I was bullied a lot, and somewhat of a hermit very early on. And so I realized, going with the crowd wasn't gonna take me anywhere. And so if I was gonna do this, I would have to do it on my own. And now it's kind of coming a time now where that's being challenged because of the status quo, with our governments being psychopaths more than ever. And so it's like I gotta find my tribe, and I gotta create my tribe and my people, and figure out what we're gonna do for the future. I have a son now. I want him to, have the best possible life available to him, and limitless potential and opportunity, and vaccine free, optimal health, optimal wealth, and just that responsibility alone, and it has awakened me so much. Would I allow that for my child? Then why am I allowing that for myself? Would I want someone to talk that way to my son, or would I want someone to treat my son like that? And why am I allowing this person to treat me this way? Okay, I gotta stand up for my inner child in the same way I'm standing up for my son, in the way that I'm parenting him and protecting him and keeping him safe. So it's now come down to energetic maintenance, mostly for me, because I'm a projector. So I have to watch how much I spend my energy. I'm not like you. I can't. I don't wake up with energy. I have to kind of go and chill my way into the day, where I'm building energy, and then I'll have someone come into my life and project something onto me, and I build some energy from their projection. And so it's very much from here on out. I feel like I need people in order to do what I'm going to do, but I also need to be aware of how I build energy and how I maintain myself, because that's something that I would always crash and burn. I would always light myself on fire to keep other people warm, and then I would deplete myself and burn out. So it's very interesting to find how human design can assist us in doing what we're doing, and doing it better, and doing it in a more sustainable way, and how we're all so different. in the way that we build energy and use our energy and how we manifest. And um,
You know, the friend who made me aware of the human design, that human design was a thing. Um, he had, you know, used the app and gone in deeper into it, and he said you can learn a lot about yourself, where to the point where you can start to take, you know, make decisions, real decisions that benefit you in your life by just, yeah, diving into it. It's quite accurate actually. You know, you should be the time of birth is even crucial.
yeah,
Not just the day.
the same day has many different
Mm.
designs.
Mm.
Yeah.
So it's quite, but it was so spot on that it was quite
Yeah,
right.
I immediately got hooked. I was like, oh, this is me. Oh, so what do I do with this? And my greatest challenge is, especially with my wife being a manifesting generator, is me accepting that she's a whirlwind, like a tornado, and she just spins around and does all these things and have vast amounts of energy. And I'm kind of like, I manifest with my imagination, and she manifests with her connections, kind of like, you know, like you do.
That's turning out to be the case.
So I'm like, please let me relax, let me, you know, let me tune into myself so that I can manifest this, and so that I can analyze this to a place where I can teach it, because that's my job as a projector, is to analyze it thoroughly so that I can show people my unique perspective so that they can find another way, or a better way to do what they're doing. It's like if someone is struggling, and that's probably why I make such a good coach, because I see how they are shooting themselves in the foot or self-sabotaging, and to give them a little redirection, then they kind of start doing it in a way that's more beneficial for them. So it's, yeah, it's very, very interesting to, but it's the greatest challenge. It's for me to allow myself the time to reflect and allow myself the time to analyze, and to then bring back some golden nuggets of information for those who resonate with me, or also waiting for the invitation. I have to wait for, as a projector, I have to wait in order to be invited. Like with you now, it was an invitation. And then I'm hopping right on. I'm like, I feel it out, and yes, this feels good, and I feel aligned. And but if I'm not invited, my design can make me bitter. Or if I don't feel recognized, I can get bitter, and then I go into the martyr part of the human design, and
But do you catch yourself in doing that? Like, you can stop it being a negative
now that I
space.
know, I can kind of recognize it. But if I'm not allowed to be in my design, like say someone is pushing me to do it their way, to have their design, or to they're stressing me, for example, then I'm like, then I notice myself getting a little agitated, and kind of like, leave me alone. I'm going to do what I do, and I'm probably going to do it really well because that's what I do. And because I take the time to figure out how to do it in the best way, in the most efficient way. And so what I'm setting out to do is going to get done, but with you stressing me or pushing me, it's going to backfire. So that's been very much my challenge with my family throughout my life, and all of my partners, to kind of like be allowed to put my cauldron like on slow burn fire, and then let the brew that I'm going to present to other people, you know, slow brew, so that all the flavors gets mixed around well, and it gets so I don't burn the brew, you know.
You know, Ulf, we're getting close to 2 hours, and I had a list of questions. I haven't touched even one. So, you know, we could talk for days, probably,
Yes.
about interesting things, at least what I find interesting, and probably you as well, hopefully. And this is why I started out, you know, saying I don't do this for anyone else but myself. But of course, I hope that some beings will find some value in it. Um, so hopefully, if you're up to it, we can, you know, do this again sometime, and we can touch on, like you just started talking about something very interesting, you know, your and you know your cooking and making the brew, and also all the other modalities you use to heal and to yeah, there's a lot of untouched material here.
Yeah, I could. That's why I can go live almost every day, and I find a topic and I do it just like you. I just turn on the record button and I see what comes through, and sometimes it's 20 minutes, and sometimes it's so interesting to even talk about that it goes into an hour. 2 hours I didn't even know. It feels like we've been sitting here talking for a short while, because you got great energy, and you're definitely doing what you should be doing. You're living out your design, you're living out your blueprint, and that's a gift for other people to enter their blueprint. Just by being in your field and being around you, you're reminding them of their blueprint. And because it's like authenticity. When we are authentic, then we offer other people to be authentic as well, and that's what the blueprint is. It's who we are. It's our authenticity. So it's a gift that will keep on giving, what you're doing, and I'm honored to have been a part of it.
And I'm honored that you wanted to join. And of course, it's all perfection. It's what it was meant to be, if you ask me.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can just, because I just saw a question arise in the chat, and it's kind of in the time, let's say in the CERN. Have you any thoughts about CERN, the Hadron Collider? They were going to do a crash today. I was aware of that yesterday or something. That you know, that their biggest yet. What would you say CERN is? What would you say they're trying to do? You don't have to take it into a deeper.
I just finished Stranger Things 4.
Ah.
For anyone who has Netflix, and I think they have the dancing Shiva outside of the CERN building, which is the creator and destroyer in Hindu mythology. And the Schumann resonance on the planet, which is the frequency that the planet is vibrating on, has been increasing a lot lately. I mean, supposedly because of they turned it on again and was playing with it, and it's been going crazy, like red on the charts. And I believe that has a lot to do with the CERN. In the context of spirituality in CERN, I'm not worried. I don't, I don't think anything that they could do could, be a spiritual transgression. I think they are babies playing with explosives, and somebody should, take the explosives away from the babies for sure. But there's lessons in that as well. Babies running around with dynamite and stuff. What can possibly go wrong? Well, we'll see.
But and again,
don't be afraid. That's kind of where
never
don't
be
be afraid
afraid.
don't be afraid about it, and don't let it ruin your sleep. Whatever happens, happens, and if we're thrown into another dimension, how exciting!
You know, if it's, and if we allow ourselves to believe or think that it's all consciousness, that consciousness is doing it all, then it's all perfect.
Yeah.
And it's all meant to be. It all needs to happen to kind of, so the grand plan can uh, live its life.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's no way to stop the consciousness of rising.
No matter what they do, they can't prevent evolution, and they can't prevent the evolution of consciousness. The Christed avatars are lighting up one by one by one by one by one until our whole planet is going to be on that frequency of consciousness. And so, you know, I think there's like with all the other stuff, the vaccinations and the food-like products and the medications and all that. I think they're making their best efforts to, you know, do something, but I don't think the creator, in terms of source intelligence, would allow. No, I don't think that they would allow anything that's not to a creation's benefit, in essence.
I agree. Heidi
If
B
they'll
would.
open portals and
Yeah,
something with tentacles pops out,
you
you
never know.
know,
You never
who
know.
knows?
What if?
Yeah.
Uh, Heidi asks, how do we connect with these healing modalities? In the show notes, there's the link to the website that will tell them most anything they need to know, right? And if anyone is interested in the book or anything, they would find their way to it in this website.
My book is on Amazon under Ulf-Haukenes, and there's also a link on my website on the first homepage to the book, and on the booking services. There are various services, but you can also write me on our Facebook page with the same name, White Wolf Alchemy, and ask about any services or what you have. Maybe you just need a question answered, and I usually help out with those for, you know, for free. And then if you got to go deeper into your work and you need some help with deeper work, then I'm available for that as well. And I love helping anyone with anything that if I can. And if I can't help you, I have the integrity to send you to somebody I know who knows how to do what I can't do.
Okay, perfect. And just let's Josh have a comment before we end that. Both good and evil are ideas, concepts that separate the person from oneness. There just is family, and the isness is now. Enjoy the very experience as the one who has no experience. Enjoy the very experience as the one who has no experience would wish for all this. Smell, taste, touch, sound, seeing, inner tuition, all of the concepts are illusions that are not present.
Yeah.
So, stop taking things so seriously, maybe.
Yeah.
Enjoy what we have to the fullest. And as I said before, try to feel as good as possible, as much as possible. Be aware of the negative things. Try to remove them from your experience, I would suggest. So, do you have any, let's say, last wise words for the how do you say, the newly awakened?
You will have everything that you've ever wanted. You will have your greatest dreams come true, and you better be ready then. You better be ready then. That's all I can say. You better be ready.
Very, very good.
Prepare yourself for your dreams coming true, you know?
Yeah. Be careful what you wish for is a saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then again, you know, coming from my perception, it's like how much. But again, this is just me. How I'm getting along fine, not having any wishes, being goalless, just open to take in whatever God, source, universe gives to me, presents to me, puts me through, and I'm just along for the ride.
Because your soul knows your blueprint, man. So you trust your soul.
I do.
Yeah.
I do, and it's helped me. Also, it's made all the difference. But then again, you know, you can't kind of advise other people probably because it's my experience and where I am at this moment in time. You know, I understand that me saying, you know, stop thinking and just let go and can be provocative for some.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Say empty your mind and silence the mind, and they're sitting there like.
okay. We've done 2 hours and 7 minutes.
Beautiful. Thank you
Awfully
for having
precious
me
time.
again.
Again,
And
thank you for
I would
coming.
love to join you anytime for this consciousness expansion that we're experiencing. And yeah, would definitely just like it's such a wide many topics that we could definitely be talking for days if we
No
had
doubt, no doubt. And as I said, you know, I made some. I never, you know, make a script or you know, but I made some stickord. Just a few
minor notes.
pointers.
Yeah.
But I didn't touch on many of them. So, but it was like it should have been.
Yeah.
It
It's
it
free flowing, and that's the beauty of it. That's exactly how I do my work as well. So I felt very aligned with your approach. You didn't ask me much or anything, and so I was like, yeah, this is very very exciting. It's basically all in the ether, and we just had to pull it down.
let's continue doing it that way.
Yeah.
And I will be in touch, you know, to do it this again. And like I said, I would think one with Josh would be very interesting.
Very much.
We can, yeah, we will make that happen. We can always have a talk privately, you know, to kind of get to know each other a little bit before we do it, and yeah. But let's see.
Yeah.
It will be
Or just wing it.
we'll wing it, and what's meant to
Grow
be will
wings
be.
on the way down. All right.
Okay, Ulf. Thank you.
Ha en kjempefin kveld og en kjempefin midtsommer videre, og alt godt til deg og dine alltid.
Tusen takk, og likeså. Vi snakkes.
Det vil. Ha det godt.
Ha det, ha det.